when it comes to the melodic and harmonic selection of notes which the Don plays, then he's kept some things he learnt from the Hawk, but he's mainly looking in two other quite different directions. The first is to the new music of bebop being created by an elite group of experimental players of which he was part. He was the oldest and most established player among them. But secondly, and more importantly, he was looking to the mind-blowing genius of Art Tatum. Yes, that. He's looking to that relentless torrent of linear acrobatics and harmonic experimentation being produced by his close friend and hero, and it takes a hell of a lot to be Don Byas' hero. Tatum was the only one possible in the history of this particular planet. And now, without further ado, I shall read to you the Don recounting the most important lesson Tatum ever taught him. "Don," said Art Tatum, "don't ever worry about what you're going to play or where the ideas are going to come from. Just remember, there is no such thing as a wrong note. What makes a note wrong is when you don't know where to go after that one. As long as you know how to get to the next note, there's no such thing as a wrong note. You hit any one you want and it fits any chord." When the Don understood what Tatum meant by this, he says, "That's when the doors started opening for me, music-wise. As long as you keep going, you're all right. But don't stop, because if you stop, you're in trouble. Don't ever stop unless you know you're at a station. If you're at a station, then you can stop, take a breath, and make it to the next station." Tatum turned me on to that. He was a genius. Now, this is easily misunderstood. I misunderstood it myself until I tried to play that way. Then, when I did, the doors started opening for me, music-wise, just as they did for the Don. What he says is easily misunderstood because saying you have to know how to get to the next note sounds vacuous, so it's natural to just ignore it. I mean, of course, if you always know the next note to play, you're going to improvise perfectly. Just like if you always knew the next word to say, you'd speak perfect Japanese. So, not really understanding what the hell he thought he was talking about, I focused on the bit about landing at stations. Now that makes sense. You have to end your phrases on notes that fit the chord, and so long as you do, you can't really go wrong. But then, when I was trying to play like that, I found myself focusing on ending the phrases in good places more than the phrases themselves, and that was no help whatsoever. It was a hindrance, in fact. Then suddenly it occurred to me what he must have meant when he said, "know how to get to the next note." By the next note, he means the same thing as the station. He's saying you have to think ahead a little, in the sense that you anticipate ending your big run of quavers with a little chromatic enclosure to land on that third of the F major chord that's coming up in three bars time, for example. Okay. Now it takes some practice to think like that, but it's not impossible. And then, when you've set your destination, you can play anything you like for the duration of the journey, within reason, anything that comes to mind. Your technique and your musical imagination will determine that. And whatever happens, just can't go wrong. And what stations did the Don himself head for? Rarely anything fancy, usually just notes that fit the chord and melodically complete the phrase. The root or fifth will do nicely. Get to those places and you can take your break. You may even want to play a long note with some heavy vibrato to announce the next run, one of those Hawkins specials as turbocharged by the Don. And another thing! Vroom! And while you're zooming to the next station, you can experiment with all kinds of melodic and harmonic inventions, just as Art did. Oh, come on. Let's listen to a bit of what he did on Willow Week for me. It's mind-blowing. Art Tatum tried out some mind-blowing harmonic ideas while he was happily travelling between stations, and his best friend, the Don, used some of them himself, the most famous of which features heavily in the French version of Riffin' and Jivin', as we shall see. So, That's how Art Tatum taught the Don to improvise. Since he was a bebopper, the musical explorations he made between stations were primarily scalar, not the more arpeggiated approach of Hawkins, nor indeed the unlimited and thoroughly pianistic approach of Tatum. But it wasn't formulaic bebop because his station approach left him free to experiment with all kinds of unorthodox notes. He knew the forward motion would make it work, whatever it was. Just listen to the man himself doing it. We're going to hear a lot of Don blowing like Art, but here's Art blowing. And another crucial point of contact for understanding the Don's debt to the divine Tatum is the dazzling patterns which Tatum scattered among his blowing. Things like this. Well, the Don did those things too, as you'll see when we get to the Looney Tunes bit of riffing and jiving.